Varga?
Yes, I would. Yeah.
All right. You can do it from there if you just slide the microphone closer to him. And we'll check and make sure they can pick it up.
Yeah, he said you.
I can sit.
You can sit there, yeah, but you got to talk into the microphone so I can hear you.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Varga, would you raise your right hand, please, sir? Do you solemnly swear, oath, or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You can go ahead, Ms. Longoria.
Could you state your name for the record, please?
James Daniel Varga,
And could you tell me your address?
1484 West 18 Mile Road, Lightly, Michigan, 49309.
And you received some tax foreclosure paperwork from the Louisville County Treasurer's Office, correct?
Correct.
Now, can you tell me when you received various paperwork from the Treasurer's Office?
Well, can we make this a little bit more streamlined? Apparently, the 16 taxes, you paid those, so those aren't even an issue. We're just dealing with the 17 taxes. Is that your position, Mr. Lawler?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So why don't you ask him about paperwork you received regarding the 17 taxes?
So you received some paperwork indicating that you had some issues with your 2017 taxes.
Yes, I did.
Okay. And did that, can you explain to me what, if anything happened in the past year or so that has affected your ability to comprehend that paperwork?
Last year, at this time, I was out of state visiting my kids in Ohio, and I ended up rupturing a disc. I already have a spinal fusion. I have the rods and screws in my back from a surgery 4 years ago, a couple surgeries, and then when the disc ruptured in my back last year was right underneath where the rods are, so they couldn't tell by x-ray that I couldn't stand, I couldn't walk, and I ended up staying in Ohio for a few months until after the holidays to get medical care there. And then when I came up here, you know, of course, there was a ton of mail back in, I'm thinking January, February.
And previously, prior to 2017, had you been paying the taxes yourself on the property?
Not all of it. I did for a while, then I had a mortgage, and then through Chase Mortgage, and Chase was paying them for a while, and that's where I'm really confused about, but.
And so did you have any other health issues that were causing you some complications?
Yes, I've been, started getting extreme headaches on my right side of my head. Started back February, March, it was just once in a while. And then they were getting worse. And I had called my doctor's office, had a couple appointments which both got canceled due to COVID. And he called in steroids for me at one time and stuff, which I was taking. But I was having a hard time remembering stuff. I forget what I was talking about halfway through sentences, and just time periods and dates. Well, finally, my knee was so bad I could hardly walk. It was bone on bone. They said they had to replace it. I've already had 3 prior surgeries on it. So that before they would approve, the knee replacement, I had to get, other testing, and they were finally starting to see open doctor's offices and stuff. And it was finally August, Dr. Bott, Nuevo, who I see, stuff, forward to headaches and stuff again, and I told him it was a daily occurrence. The pain on the right hand side of my head was extreme. And I couldn't even function. I just had to sit and turn lights off, the TV. It was like a bad migraine, I guess. But anyhow, he sent me to Hastings to get a brain scan. And then I got the results. This was last month, August. And here it turns out, at least since the beginning of the year, I've been having a series of they call it vascular, uh, it's something vascular in my right side of my head where they were talking, they were causing lots and lots of mini strokes.
All right, and have you had any side effects from that besides, how has that affected your thinking?
Yes, that's what I was saying. I have a hard time remembering stuff. I forget words. It gets extremely frustrating, just basic some words. And
Okay, and what is your occupation right now?
I'm retired.
Retired from what?
Police department, I'm retired from the police in a small town in Ohio.
And how many years did you work there?
19, and then I had Ohio, let you count your military time. I was in the Air Force when I was 17. I went in and was there for 6, so I had 25 years.
And do you have any debt now associated with your home except for the debt that's owed to the treasurer?
No, I do not.
And can you explain what, if any, attempts you have made to try and take care of these taxes?
I got one of the letters, I know it was first part of the year. I called and I talked to a lady, and was trying to, explain to her, I thought, with the mortgages and that, and she said I would need to make an appointment. And I said, okay, and, COVID was starting, so nothing was really set up yet on how to do anything. And then, so I said, okay, and I can't remember if I was supposed to call her back or she was gonna call me. I honestly, I don't remember. And then other times I did call, but I got a recording due to COVID-19, like you do everywhere.
Okay. And now the attorney indicated that, opposing counsel had indicated that they believe that the 2016 taxes were all taken care of and you're good there. Do you have it? Do you agree with that?
Yes.
But did you have any confusion over the 2016 versus the 2017 notices that you received?
Yes, because I was looking at the checkbook and the big check, it was 1,100 and something. It posted early 18. So I thought that was for that. If that makes sense.
Okay. So the check that you sent them for March 31st of 2020, you paid, did you pay $1107.61?
I don't remember the date, but I believe that was, it was 1,100 something, and then another one for 300 something.
Or, oh, I'm sorry. So,
No, the other one would have been earlier.
the 1,100 was earlier than
Yes.
2020?
Yes,
Okay, oh,
yes.
I see. You had a canceled check at the end of 2018, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Which was what got me really screwed up.
Okay, so what did you think that check was paid?
2017, because of when it cleared posted, it was 2018.
And you didn't realize that you still owed did you know you still owed 2016's taxes at that time?
No, I don't. I don't remember.
And then
It's
in
2016, I believe, was last year of my mortgage. I thought, it was you paid by then,
Okay, got it. And then in February 28th of 2019, check number 1601, you paid some additional funds, correct?
Correct.
You know about how much that was?
That was 300 something. I thought that would have been like spring tax.
Okay. And, so what would you like to have happened today?
I'd like to just settle this. My house is all I have. I have nowhere to go. The house, it was a dream. I bought property in '95, started building, and the more I kept coming up, the more I liked the area and the cost of living, and I thought with the pension I would get, I could live, still do things. And I pay any taxes, any fines or fees. My house, like I said, it's the only thing I have.
And do you have the ability to bid on it at auction, and resources to be able to bid?
No, I do not. That's why I said my house is all I have.
And is it true that you'd be able to pay $1,400 to the Omega County Treasurer today?
Yes,
And then you would need some additional time if it's more than that?
yes, I can pay up to another $1,000 on Thursday, the first. My pension check is positive.
Okay. And if the cost was over that,
The first of each month, they were working with me on that.
so you would pay $1,000 the first of each month until whatever legal expenses and.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And you understand that if they were to agree to anything like that, if that was ordered, that you would also be responsible for any expenses they have expended towards getting the property up for sale as well.
Yes, I do.
Your Honor,
Yes?
I'm having a hard time hearing the questioning, and I'm suspecting that the witness is probably getting led. So if Ms. Longoria could speak up, it would help me quite a bit.
You can slide over to this desk and speak into that microphone, Ms. Longoria, if you want. You're welcome to take off your mask as long as you're spaced out apart,
All right.
or you can just talk louder too.
So what is your understanding of the types of expenses that you might have to pay in addition to the amount that's past due in taxes?
The past due taxes, any legal fees and any fees for them to do any court fees, any fees associated with it at all.
And had you known that the amounts that you had paid weren't for the 2017 taxes, what would you have done?
I would have gotten paid, like I said, it was better. I don't have the head pain no more due to the medication I'm on now, but pay them. I said, my house is all I have. I don't want to lose it. I have nowhere to go.
All right, thank you. I have nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, any questions for Mr. Varga, Mr. Lawler?
Just a couple, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Varga, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Varga, I understood you to say that in October of 2019, you were visiting your kids in Ohio and stayed through the holidays. Is that relatively accurate?
17 or September, I believe it was. That's when I ruptured the disc and it went against the sciatic nerve, and I couldn't walk or bend, stand. I couldn't do anything, so I was down.
Mr. Varga, I just asked you if you were in Ohio. I heard the stuff about your back and everything else, and I don't mean to sound
I'm sorry.
unsympathetic, but I know the judge wants to move on.
Yes, I was.
I'm sorry I'm not there, Your Honor, but attached as Exhibit 3 to our response is a signed certified mailing dated December 9th, 2019 regarding these 2017 taxes that were owing. And you can see from it that Mr. Vargas, it appears to be his signature. I can't hand it to him and ask him if it is his signature, but I would ask Ms. Longoria if she has the pleading to ask him, show it to him.
Yes, it looks like my signature.
Okay, and then if you,
That would have been right around the time I got back, the holidays, for the holidays.
And then if
Sure.
you look at Exhibit 8, is another certified mailing that was sent, and this would have regarded the forfeiture of the 2018 taxes. And again, this appears to be your signature on here. Can you show that to him, Ms. Longoria, please?
Oh, yeah, it could be, yeah. I was not really too good shape that time of the year. That's part of the year when the strokes and stuff popped out, started happening.
Mr. Varga,
Yes,
isn't it true that you were also on a payment plan before too?
Payment
For
plan?
for the 16 taxes?
not that I recall, I thought I paid that, the 1,100 or whatever it was.
I know, I'm not disputing that you paid it. I'm just asking you to acknowledge that the county treasurer put you on a payment plan to help you out.
I do
And that
remember being on it.
paid off the 2016s.
That would have just been the one check, I thought. I remember being on the payment plan.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Exhibit 4 to our complaint is a payment plan that was offered.
Right, that was, that document says 2017 tax year.
Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor. It does. Do you recall seeing this document, Mr. Varga?
No, sir, I don't.
Mr. Varga, do you have any idea how many notices you would have received in mailings and everything else regarding these taxes throughout the years?
No, I don't.
Well, the statute requires that we send close to 20 notices. And we also have to go to your door and tack a notice on your door, which we did in September of 2019. And that's evidenced by the proof of service that's at Exhibit 9 attached to our response to the motion. I guess I don't have any other questions, Your Honor.
All right,
I
any
think-
redirect, Ms. Longoria?
Yes, Mr. Varga, had you received this payment plan for 2017, would you have made payments?
Yeah, I'm not, I said, I don't remember, I don't ever see a payment plan, but, yeah, I don't want to be here.
And I'm going to take a look at that notice. Do you see your address anywhere on that notice?
No, I do not. I,
Do you see any identifying information on there as it relates to you, other than the parcel number?
if the parcel number is correct, that would be it. I don't know my parcel number offhand.
Do you see, but you, and I'm gonna ask you again, because I don't know if opposing counsel heard me, do you see your name anywhere on that notice?
No,
Do you see your address anywhere on that?
no,
And you said that you don't recall ever seeing that?
no, I didn't.
Okay, thank you. And despite them, despite that being sent out, you're indicating that you would be able to pay if it was more than $1,400, $1,000 additionally?
Yes,
this week, after the third,
yes,
or after the first, I'm sorry.
at first, correct,
Okay. And then $1,000 each month after that.
correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any follow-up on that, Mr. Lawler?
No, Your Honor, I mean, we provided all the notices, and it's quite evident that the payment plan related to the parcel at issue. So, I mean, the statute's pretty clear.
All right. So, all right, any other questions, any other witnesses that you want to call, Ms. Longoria?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Any witnesses that you want to call, Mr. Lawler?
I'd like to call Holly Moon, Your Honor.
All right. And Ms. Moon, you want to come up to the witness stand?
Thank you.
Would you raise your right hand, please? You solemnly swear, oath, or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right? You can go ahead, Mr. Lawler.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Moon, could you please state your name for the record?
Holly Moon, Nuevo County Treasurer.
Ms. Moon, how long have you been the treasurer in Newaygo County?
16 years at the end of December.
And have you been the foreclosing government unit since PA 123 was enacted?
Yes,
And are you familiar with everything in PA 123, which is codified as MCL 21178 et al?
yes,
And are you familiar with Mr. Vargas' property, 1484 West 18 Mile Road, Bitely? I think it's Bitely.
yes,
Can you verify to the court that you and your office have complied with all the statutory notice requirements related to this property?
yes, we have. We supplied those to you so that you could report them as part of your response. In fact, if I can add, we go above and beyond what's required in the law by making phone calls and have contacts with several agencies and resources in the community to assist taxpayers in retaining their property.
If I said that in the exercising of your duties, your objective is to follow the law, would you consider that an accurate statement?
Yes, I would.
Is there anything you can fill in on the, you heard the discussion on the payment plan that was offered. Is there any discussion you could provide to the court that may give the court a better understanding of that procedure and how it's handled?
Yes. Typically, payment plans are issued when we've made contact or the taxpayer has made contact with our office and has specifically stated that they are in need of help. And our goal is to always assist taxpayers. The payment plan that's used as the exhibit today is for the 2017 taxes, and that is the year in question. Beyond that, we don't follow up month by month to make sure that the payments are made. We believe that that's the responsibility of the taxpayer. We also allude, and not just allude, we also state at our show cause hearing what the processes are, and that there's also an opportunity to request an extension of your taxes if you feel you're unable to pay by March 31st. And that is given to all taxpayers in jeopardy of foreclosure. And Mr. Vargas did not respond to show cause for that opportunity.
How do you distribute those payment plans to the taxpayers who have issues?
If they are requesting it at the window, we would prepare it and hand it to them. And if it's a telephone call, we would mail it to the address of record in the tax database.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Longoria, any questions for Ms. Moon?
Yes, Ms. Moon. For the record, we don't dispute that you followed all the rules or regulations. That's not in dispute here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And the notice for show cause for the 2017 was set for, the show cause was February 6th of this year. Is that correct?
Yes,
And are you present for those show causes?
yes, I hold the show call here, show
Okay.
cause hearing, and my staff takes minutes.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Varga missed that, correct?
That is correct. All taxpayers sign in.
Okay. And can you tell me what, if any, communications you may have had or your staff may have had with Mr. Varga as it relates to after that date, as it relates to this property? And when I say that date, I mean the February 6th, 2020.
We called to advise him that he was in jeopardy of foreclosure, like we do with all taxpayers that we have phone numbers for. We also received a call from you in September as to what date the auction was and explained that to you. We have all our comments listed in the exhibits regarding this parcel. My staff and I take notes on each taxpayer's communications.
And what was the time frame, if any, that the office was shut down and not open to the public?
The county building was closed beginning on March 23rd. However, my staff worked remotely using Teams software to answer telephone calls. We installed a drop box at the sheriff's office for tax payments, and we picked up the mail each day. I'm sorry, every other day during that time.
And when did it open back up to the public?
I believe that date was the beginning of June.
Okay, thank you. And do you have any objection to Mr. Varga? What is the total amount due right now with expenses, if you know?
I do not know Attorney Lawler's expenses, but the total amount of taxes due 2017 forward, which would be what he would be allowed to bid on, as of the end of the month would be $3,335.78.
All right, and so that's considerably more than the notice that he got for $1,107.61.
That's correct, because when we foreclose on all 3 years. And that's what comprises the minimum bid.
Okay, so this would be 17, 18, or, 17, 18, and 19 taxes then?
I believe so. I don't have the auction list right in front of me, but
Okay.
that's what
Okay, got it.
all of them are.
All right, thank you. And 20's taxes you wouldn't have yet because those stay with the village or the township or whatever, correct?
As stated on my website, if you're the successful bidder at the tax auction sale, you'll be responsible for the 2020 summer taxes before a deed can be recorded.
All right, thank you. And is there any fees yet for the auction?
Fees for the auction sale are paid by the buyer. There's a buyer's premium as well as a recording fee. The only additional fees I would have at this time, which are unknown, are my legal fees.
I see, okay. And do you have any objection to Mr. Varga paying $2,400 this week, and then an additional 1,000 until the amount is due, or paid in full, I'm sorry, including any attorney fees.
As my attorney stated earlier, my responsibility as county treasurer is to follow the law, and the law does not allow me to do that. The only time that I understand that we are able to do this is if there's been a due process issue whereby our elements of the law have not been completely fulfilled. And my research shows, and my consultation with my attorney while we were recessed, is that none of those elements were missed.
And I understand that you say that your job is to follow the law, but I'm saying you don't care one way or another if Mr. Varga has the home or if someone else has the home, as long as the taxes are paid and everything is paid, correct? I mean, you don't have any personal interest on who has the property.
I don't have a personal interest in who owns the property. I do have an interest in following the law and not setting precedent going forward for others, because I receive 6,000 delinquent tax bills every year.
Correct.
And one of the reasons I'm so studious about completing all these elements is because we have to treat everyone equitably. And I believe he's been treated equitably.
I understand. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Any redirect, Mr. Waller?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
A couple questions, Ms. Moon. So, was it the first part of June that you had people on site in the treasurer's office at the county, or was it before then?
We were on site all but 2 weeks of the closure. We just weren't allowed, because the county building was closed, we were not allowed to have customers come into our window. That's why I implemented the drop box at the sheriff's office. We pick that up every day.
And did you take any steps to advise the public that there was a drop box or mail, or how the treasurer's office was still functioning during the emergency shutdown?
Yes, I did, Your Honor. I posted it on our website, and I also posted it on my Facebook page.
And then the first part of June, you were open to the public for that, up until the end of the redemption period, is that correct?
That's correct. We were open every day.
All right. I don't have any other questions. Any follow-up, Ms. Longoria?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Waller?
No, Your Honor. Am I going to have a chance to make a comment at the end, though?
Yes?
Okay, thank you.
All right, you can step down, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other witnesses that you wish to call, Mr. Lawler?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Any brief closing summary, Ms. Longoria?
No, Your Honor, I believe my closing would be quite similar to my opening statements, and we would just ask, here we have Mr. Varga, who was a 6-year veteran and then served 18 years as a police officer, found his retirement home up here, and then unfortunately, due to some confusion and poor health, and his mortgage being paid off, just the pandemic, just a bunch of different things combined, put him in this unfortunate situation. He certainly wouldn't want to lose his home for, the amount of taxes that is, 33, 35, 78, when it's paid in full. He certainly would have taken care of that had he gotten so confused about everything. And so we would ask that he be allowed to pay $2,400 within a week, $1,400 of it would be today, allowed to pay whatever other the balance in $1,000 payments per month until paid in full, and allowed to retain the home. Thank you.
All right, any brief closing remarks, Mr. Lawler?
Yes, Your Honor. I just want to make sure there's no confusion. When I was conferencing with Ms. Moon, she alluded that I may have misspoken on the issue of 21178K5G. The law there is clear that the court shall not modify, stay, or held invalid the judgment. And I guess I want to make it clear, you know, respectfully, Your Honor, you're entitled to do whatever you like to do or want to do here. But in the event that the treasurer decided to appeal, if you ruled in favor of Mr. Varga, I'm quite confident that the Court of Appeals would overturn that, because they've litigated the issue a number of times, and I've done it myself personally. So I would ask that, unfortunately, and I'm sorry for Mr. Varga, but I would ask that the court deny his motion and hold that the foreclosure judgment is valid, and he can proceed to the auction and repurchase the property. And I am happy to prepare an order, Your Honor, if you deem so necessary. Thank you.
All right, so in this case, we're just dealing with the 2017 taxes, which would be the case number 1920500. And just as a matter of housekeeping, Ms. Longoria, are you withdrawing your motion in case number 1820367 as the 2016 tax year has been paid?
Yes, Your Honor. Time was of the essence when this was filed because of the upcoming sale, and so we weren't sure which year's taxes was being foreclosed on, and that's why I filed under both, just to make sure. And I will withdraw under the 2018-20367 CC.
All right. Okay, so in this case, the court is required by the law to deny Mr. Varga's motion. And the facts of this case are essentially identical to a Court of Appeals case from 2016, and that's Tuscola County Treasurer for Foreclosure versus the Dupois, I guess, and it's found at 217 Mish App 688. As I indicated, it was a 2016 case. That case deals with a tender of payment for delinquent taxes after the redemption date. It also deals with hardships that, similar to Mr. Varga, unforeseen circumstances that prevented them from paying the taxes before the drop dead redemption date. In that case, just as here, the property owner was seeking a relief under the relief from judgment court rule, that's 2.612. And they convinced the trial court that that was appropriate, and the Court of Appeals says no, that the exclusive relief, that relief is barred by the statute that I previously cited, expressly holding that the statute, they say that the court shall not modify judgments of foreclosure. It superseded the court rule, and that was not an abuse of power by the legislature. So the net result of that case, as is going to be the case here, is that the motion for relief from judgment has to be denied. And, I guess there would be the possibility that I could ignore the statute, I could ignore the case law, and give Mr. Varga the opportunity to try and pay these assessments, but then I wouldn't be doing my job. And my job is to follow the law, the statutes, and the case law. And as much as I would like to give him that opportunity, I don't believe that I have the power in the Court of Appeals, basically says I don't have jurisdiction in this case. So, as far as findings of facts, the court does find, and I guess it was essentially stipulated to, that the Nuevo County Treasurer provided all the statutory required notices for delinquency, forfeiture, and foreclosure. That is not disputed by Mr. Varga. It is also undisputed that Mr. Varga failed to pay the redemption amount before the extended deadline pursuant to Governor Whitmer's emergency order, which was June 29th, 2020. The court finds that even during the shutdown, the Nuevo County Treasurer's Office was open for business, that being phone calls, returned phone calls, and they were still conducting business, just not in person. That the treasurer took reasonable measures to notify the public that they were still working, and that people could call with issues. The court further finds that in the first part of June, that the treasurer's office was again open to the public without, you would have to go through a health screening, but other than that, people could do their business in person. The record further reflects, and it's not disputed in the Mr. Varga's motion or the response, that the quote final payment was tendered after the expiration of the extended redemption period. So it's on those facts that the court is required to deny Mr. Varga's motion for relief from judgment. And Mr. Lawler, you're going to prepare that order to the effect and make sure that you address the 2018 case as being the motion would be withdrawn on that, because my factual findings just apply to the 2017 tax year. Any questions about the court's order, Ms. Longoria?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Lawler?
Your Honor, I assume that the order also is going to remove the temporary restraining order?
Yes, sir. Yes, it will.
Okay.
The sale is required to go forward. And with that, we'll go off the record.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.